Forget everything that you think you know about DIY car restoration and resale values. The internet is full of all kinds of glorified builds, but the reality is that not every hour that you spend in the garage is going to translate into a higher resale value. Today, we're busting some of the myths that are out there about DIY and car values and hours spent in the shop. And well, there's just a lot to talk about. It's a Talk About It Tuesday, and that's what we're talking about. I'm Mike. This is My Car Shop. Look, before you have a coronary, I know it's not all about profit, but it's still something that's worth considering. I know on other videos like this I've gotten all kinds of messages, people saying, I don't care what it costs, I'm never getting rid of it anyway, my kids aren't going to want it, and it's going to be their problem, and they can just sell it or what. I get all that, okay? But I still think being aware of trends and being aware of what's going on out there is important. Is it just a labor of love? Or is it more than that? You know, the reality is for many of us, it's about the emotional satisfaction more than it is about the financial return on the investment. But I mean, especially in the economy today, money's not easy, and I think it's something worth talking about. Now, you're here at My Car Shop, and we're a DIY fabrication, do things for penny on the dollar shop, but I'm still always paying attention to the car values, what things are selling for, what's happening in the industry, and what's happening in the market, because that's where I come from. We never want to overlook the personal satisfaction as well as the development of skills. And again, if you've been around the channel here, that's the primary purpose of what this channel is about. But I think we really need to define exactly what value is in the big picture if we're going to talk about the value of all of these old cars. Most of what I do is restoration for personal enjoyment, not restoration for resale, and they really are two different things. We do mostly fabrication here. We don't buy a lot of stuff here on this channel. The motto is, why would I buy that when I can make it? I get more satisfaction out of taking a flat piece of sheet metal and making a part than I ever do out of swiping my credit card. But we still want to talk about the value of doing a car to resell and how that's much different. I mean, let's face it, if we're going to fabricate everything, that's going to make it very, very difficult to sell that car because of the sheer man hours we would have involved versus swiping the credit card and just buying the parts we need to get something done and get it out the door quick. Remember, when you're doing work to either sell something or doing work for somebody else, time is money. It's not necessarily about the satisfaction at that point. The second thing we consider here is, what's the context of the project? My Stitches Challenger, the 70 Dodge Challenger you've seen if you've been around the channel, that I'm purposely not showing you because there's a big unveiling coming very soon on that. That car was a junkyard pile car with cars on top of it, and it was rotted from front to back, and 318 automatic car that has very little value. And that's been a fun car for me to hand fabricate almost everything for because I just enjoy the process of craftsmanship and challenging my own skill levels, but I could never do that if I was doing it for a customer. If I had purchased everything for that car, I would probably have $20,000 or $30,000 worth of parts or more into that car, plus my time to do it. But by doing it all by hand and scrounging and bartering and everything I've done to build that car, I've only got $3,000 in it, and it's approaching the point where it could be drivable again. I'm not going to over-restore that car in the context of it. Yes, I know the way I've done that car, its sale value on the market is probably right now 30, 40 grand at the most, versus a pristinely done clone car. Okay, pristinely done 440 4-speed RT clone car, which is what I'm basically building, but I'm doing it DIY in the context of that. Those cars bring 40 to 80. That's current market value. That doesn't mean that a year from now, or even by the time this video comes out, that's where the market's going to be. But that's kind of the reality and why I've chosen to do it that way, because my initial upfront investment, other than my time and fun, is almost nothing. Are there hidden costs in doing things the DIY low buck way? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, the reality is that when, like we're doing on the Foresight, where we purchased a lot of stuff for that car, and we'll be getting on that one soon. Um, you still got to have a welder. It's helpful to have a cheap sheet metal brake, although for many, many years I didn't have one. Bead roller, maybe, maybe not, but we're not talking a huge investment there. You can do most of this stuff DIY with pretty simple tools. Shrinker stretcher's nice. Is it necessary? No, probably not. But the tools I'm talking about, we're not talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of investment. And the reality is, you have to have most of those things anyway. If you're going to do it by purchasing everything and going the higher end route, even in DIY. Are there other hidden costs? Well, I've got a fairly well equipped shop, but part of this channel is how to equip your shop with vintage tools that you can pick up for pennies on the dollar. And I try to show you how we do all of that, not just build the car. So again, we're a DIY channel, but I probably have way more tools and equipment than you would need uh, for the most part to do our higher end car if you're buying premium quality parts. But the shop is about a lot more than that, and we do have 13 cars that we're doing right now. Yes, DIY can decrease value. I get that, especially when you're fabricating. Now, I will clarify, I could have done better work on the Challenger, and I would have. The fabrication part of it probably didn't detract a lot, but the fact that I did a lot of overlap and plug welds on that rather than doing perfect cut and butt type welding, that was just simply to save tons and tons of time. I knew that if the car was going to get resold, which it's not, but if it was, the way I've done it, because it's called stitches, and you'll see stitches on the car, that does detract. And I get that, but that was a conscious choice because I wasn't trying to make an $80,000 440 RT clone car. That wasn't my point in the project. The point in the project was saving a car that was probably days away from being crushed, and it's way further along than that now. So yes, choosing the way you do it can definitely affect its resale value. And at the end of the day, I know a lot of people really don't care about that. I don't either, but I still try to pay attention to the market. I mean, let's face it, if something really bad happened and my Challenger was much further along, closer to completion, and life took a massive turn south, worse than it already has in the last few years, all this stuff is up for grabs, and I could cash out and realize some cash if I had to. I think you're probably of the same mindset. I've said for a long time on the channel that at some point I probably should do a high dollar car just to demonstrate how that work is done. I don't think the channel's at a point revenue wise where that makes any sense, and I'm not sure that's sustainable right now, but someday we will. But in my professional life, before I was an engineer in the auto industry, I did some high six-figure cars. It's not out of the scope of the work that I've done. But I always try to look at the context of what a vehicle is and put into it what I think the car wants and needs without getting carried away and turning the project into something that'll take me 35 years to get done and never be done to my own standards of perfection and become a discouragement that I don't want to work on. I want to have fun. Therefore, we're going to make it safe and we're going to make it done. Now, I'm not saying my approach is the way everybody should do it, but the reality is you have to make those decisions for yourself. That's what's really important, and that's why we're talking about it. The Forsyth Duster is a great example of a decision that we've made on a car. This car, whether you believe me or not, I really don't care. I know the family, I know the history all the way back to when this car was purchased. 1 year old, 1971. It's a 70. It was purchased with almost no miles on it. Bob Forsyth drag raced this car up until the 80s. It never saw the road. Saw the road for 1 year. Actually, it's been a drag car ever since. It only has 9,000 miles on it. All numbers matching. We know we could take this car and restore it back, make it pristine. I have the 340. I have the original 3-speed. We have everything for the car, and it would be a $40,000 or $50,000 car. We feel the value in the car is its history as a local drag racing legends car that we want to put back to what Bob had in probably about 1976 to 1978. That's the value in the car. And here's my point. Not all value in a project has to do with money. We're looking at the 70 mental reasons why we want to keep this car as a hats off tribute to Bob and his racing legacy for his family and those around here who remember him. I've had many conversations with local drag racers about this car and racing against Bob. It's just brilliant. The things that I've learned and the situations that I have had because of this car. There's also the value of developing yourself and developing your skills. We talk about artisanship and craftsmanship and things like that. Developing yourself, personal development is a value add, value return that is immeasurable. Whatever you do on a project, you're developing your skill sets, you're getting better, and on your next project, that's going to give you a return on that investment. Find your own sweet spot in all of that, but don't bury your head in the sand. Some projects, money's no object, and I get that. It means you just want the thing because there's, like Bob's car, there's sentimental value to it, to you. This is my great grandpa's car. This thing is a survivor. It is unrestored. We haven't taken a money's no object approach, but we have definitely not done the DIY low buck approach on this car either. We've tried to find a good balance of doing what the car really deserves to have done to it based upon what it is and what we want it to be. My encouragement, yes, be aware of the market trends because you never know when you might have to cash out of something you never thought you would because life all of a sudden took a turn south you didn't expect. But also remember, don't be obsessed with that. Remember that the return on your investment isn't always about the money. It's also about personal development and skill, and also a big one, relationship that can be built as you work on these projects and you invite other people to work with you. It can be a tremendous bonding time. There's so much around that. Just the community that you get involved with, if you so choose, that the car community is great for the most part. So there's a lot of other things that can grow you as a person. And so the value is not just in what I'm building and what I can sell it for. So that's our Talk About It Tuesday today. I'd love to hear your comments down there. Drop your thoughts. I appreciate you being here as always. And oh yeah, we have channel memberships for as little as $5 a month. We'd love to have you join us with all kinds of behind the scenes content. Stick around the channel because we have 2 huge episodes coming. I think right after this one, probably Friday and Sunday or Sunday and the next Friday. I'm not totally sure. On that, but we've got 2 milestone episodes coming here on the Stitches Challenger. I'm not going to want you to miss that. And one more thing, if you've been around MKS for any length of time, you know this is important.